Okay, awesome. I think we're good to go again. Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Retention Club. Today we have someone awesome with us. This is Love, who basically leads all things customer success at Outplay. Thanks for being here, Love. How are you doing today?
Yep, doing all good, Janvi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking time out on a Saturday to do this. I see your dedication towards customer success. So, let's just get right into it, right? Sales tech, right? Sales team typically uses 5 to 6 tools on an average. How do you ensure Outplay doesn't become just another tool, right? Like, what's the secret sauce you guys are doing for engaging customers and retaining them?
Yep. Like you mentioned, Janvi, so sales teams have a lot of tools these days in their stack, and people don't understand the importance of each tool. So it's kind of important to make them understand what each tool's specialties, or what they can use to do that with the tool. So with Outplay, what we do is like basically it's an engagement platform. So we kind of understand first from the customers, what their tech stack is, and based on that how Outplay can work in tandem with that tech stack. So like someone has a CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot or any other, then Outplay can be a integration to that, and then how Outplay can help sit in tandem with that software, and they can that can help their team. So that's the first thing we would do, and then
Mm-hmm.
basically try to understand more from the customer's perspective, if they are investing into a tool, what they are exactly looking for and why they are investing in a tool. There are a lot of tools out there these
Yeah,
days. So
yeah.
sometimes I think people just, on a bandwagon of things, like, if someone is buying 5 tools or some company has 5 tools, people think that, if we buy those 5 tools we will have the results with us, but that's not how, things will work. So based on that, and we kind of talk a lot with our customer to understand their perspective, and then from there, take things forward to the
Okay,
next.
actually, that's very interesting that you mentioned that you talk a lot to your customers, okay? Because this is something I was actually super curious about, and I'm sure a lot of people are curious about as well. I think selling to sales teams is obviously very challenging, but I think getting them to adopt a new tool would be even more challenging because they're just so busy, right? And they typically they honestly don't want you to bother them because they just have so much going on. And you said that you talk a lot to your customers, right? So how do you guys manage to do that? Is it like email, in-app? What's like? Give us a peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah. So, Janvi, what we have done at Outplace, like you mentioned, we have understood one pain point of every sales team, that they don't have time. And basically, we are trying to solve that only for them. So, what we are doing is like they have a proper in app support, which is very quick in a couple of minutes. So, if someone is working, some AE, some SDR is working on the tool, they are running into a issue, they are having a question, so they can ping us immediately, and we'll be, kind of able to support them in a very quick turnaround time. So
Right.
that's where, we have kind of built our engagement. So when we get on, let's say later on calls with the, the whole team, so we already have some champions there because they have already kind of working with us, and they understand that, we as a resource are very helpful and knowledgeable from a platform perspective. So that kind of, resonates within their team, and
Right.
because, salespeople again, then they talk to each other. So
Yeah.
people have that belief that, if in case there is anything, you ping the Outplay team, they will help you out. Even the sales manager or the, any, sales lead does not have to get involved in that front.
Right. So basically, the fact that it's in the product, if they have any issue, you guys are just a ping away. They feel like, okay, we've got it covered. It's not like, its help isn't reachable. And you're saying that basically makes a huge difference here.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, that's again like really cool, right? Because again, I think just because there are so many sales tools, right? Do you feel that there's a lot more pressure on you and the CS function to basically make a key differentiator? Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure there, or do you think all of the different departments are kind of equally feeling that pressure?
I think, I mean, it's equally divided, to be honest. But yeah, because we are working closely with the customers, so we have that different kind of pressure to deal with that. So what happens is like, firstly, people like these days, every tool is kind of, building out a sequencing part, or doing some engagement on their bit. So People sometimes ask us the question, like, this tool has this, then why we
Yeah.
will need Outplay? And
Yeah.
then as a CSM, it is our responsibility to kind of guide them that, how Outplay will help you. The other tool is helping you in a different way. And then if you move the processes, then the whole team process will break. So that's something, we don't, what you say, like give a consultation to the customer that even if they have thought about that, then we tell them that it will break your process. And then in sales, if you are breaking your process which is already working for you, it's going to take you back to some quarters, and that's again a challenge which you will run into. So consulting and guiding them becomes a big piece of that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so everyone's talking about reducing churn, right? Like everyone is talking about it. But I want to flip that question around, right? I want to hear about what is like the biggest retention failure you had? Like what went wrong and how did it reshape your thinking about it actually? Like what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the CS folks who will be listening to this, they will
Yeah.
agree that the biggest failure is where a customer, you don't have any indications of a churn coming up, and then it suddenly pops out of nowhere, and then you are kind of running around and hassling and trying to understand what went wrong. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest surprise that could happen. I mean, in terms of retention failure, that there is a customer who is engaging with you, team is using the product, there are no red signals, nothing like that, and then suddenly one day you will see an email that, hey, we are not renewing. So
Right.
from
Right.
from that perspective, Janvi, it's basically, what I have tried to learn or still learning is, trust your metrics, but don't trust your metrics like 100% eyes closed.
Yeah.
Metrics are helpful to give you a indication of how things are going, but those will not be your complete picture. So then again, you will have to understand more from your customer's perspective. Maybe like some decisions the customers management takes, the budget issues or anything like that, so we can't control that. But as a CSM, maybe we can be aware of that a couple of months prior to that. So that's what I am trying to learn and work toward these things, that as a CSM, how to make sure that I have A to Z all the reasons covered up, that that can lead to that surprise churn. And that's a big challenge. I mean, it's there is no, I would say, 100% solution for it right now, but gradually working towards it, talking to people in the industry, trying to understand how they are tackling that as well.
That's like really cool because I think a lot of CSMs also kind of talk about this, right? Where is that line between trusting your gut? Because at the end of the day, you know these customers really, really well, and it's just intuition versus the health score or the metric or the dashboard is saying something else, right? It's saying something else. Sometimes that could be in total alignment to what you're feeling. Sometimes it could be the opposite of what you're feeling. So, just on those metrics that you were talking about, right? Tell us a little bit about you wake up in the morning. What's a day in the life of someone leading the CS team at Outplay look like? What are the tools you use? What do you do? Like, just walk us through 24 hours.
Sure, sure. So, Janu, we have a couple of tools that we use in the team. So, for our in-app support that I was talking about, we got Crisp there, which is basically, the tool used mostly by the team, because most of our customers are engaging with us on Crisp.
Right.
Then we have our, internal Outplay that we use as a CS team
Yeah.
as well. Then we
Yeah.
got Custify, which is basically a CS tool to give us indication of metrics and all. And we have Mix Panel, which is basically again giving us, if we are rolling out features, what's the utilization of those, and trying to, let's say sometimes we build out too many features in the product, and those kind of overcomplicate the product, and those are not needed. So then we go back to Mix Panel to understand, even if we launch these features, where they are being used or not, and then accordingly kind of clear out the platform, uh, so that it's easier for the users to
Right.
use it, right? So these are the things. And then typical day to day is, I would say, how a typical CS team today would be working. You woke up, you kind of see what's happening on the pending things with the tech team and the product team, you have a sync up with them, then based on that you communicate the things pending with the customers. and then from there, it's your clearing out the emails, having your catch up calls with the customers, training calls. So kind of, the day goes into that. And at the end of the day, the goal is one, that the customer who is bought the product, he or she will be able to use it without any problems as such. And because it's again a tool which I think is the bread and butter of a sales team. So if I have a sales team right now and I
Yeah.
want to, sell my product, so along with the prospect data that I can get from various sources right now, I will have to use that data in the right way. And Outplay is a tool which can do that for my team.
Okay, awesome. So you're also like advocating how good it is yourself because you feel that difference, which is cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we have like a pretty interesting segment of basically the podcast, which is we call it like the Crystal Ball Chronicles. We basically want to know your take on the future, right? If you had a crystal ball and you can peer in there and make some assumptions. So I think what I really want to know is what do you think the future of CS is going to be like in 2025, right? Based on some of the trends you see evolving right now, like in terms of maybe the tech stack or maybe how customer expectations are changing, right? Maybe if you can give us like your top two or three trends or insights that you think is what the future is going to look like, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think from a CS perspective, Janvi, what's gonna happen, or what I feel is happening, is people are now realizing that customer success is just not a white glove where you have a bunch of people who will talk to the customer uh, to kind of, just expand the account or do QBRs and do all of that.
Yeah.
It's getting much deeper now. So earlier, like how people had a, picture of a support team being different and a success team being different, I
Yeah.
think that is now kind of burning out. So the
Right.
success team is now required to have that technical knowledge of the product, and the customer kind of expect it from their CSM as well. So
Right.
this is where I think things are heading, that as a CSM, you have to technically adapt yourself, like learn more about your product insights in and out,
Right.
so that when you are talking to a customer, even if it's a catch up call or expansion call or anything, if they ask you something, like people will not expand until they what they have set in their mind, or the process or the goal they are looking for is something which is achievable with your platform. And
Right.
to do that, the old age way of taking the requirement, going back to the teams, figuring out, so that is something which is changing now. People
Right.
want instant things because there are tools in the in the market which could provide that instantly to them. So uh, and then patience is another key, where people have to again understand that it's a very patient process. A customer
Right.
will or will not give you things that you want, so accordingly you have to be very patient enough for those things. So
Right.
this is one thing I see, which will change, like that picture will break. People will not talk about support team being support and success team being success. I think the success team will take care of both the support and the success part for a customer, because that's how the softwares are shaping up, that's how the tools are coming
Right.
up. And
Right.
then coming to the, I think some of those well,
Yeah, it's my doorbell. Just give me 1 second. I'll just pause it and I'll join back.
sure, sure.
Okay, yes. So basically, we were talking about how the line between support and success is like really blurring, starting to blur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you will see that in the roles also, like people are hiring right now these days, like a technical CSM or a technical account manager, or even in CSM you will see the the role and responsibilities changing. And even I feel like as a CS, like people have that upsell as their KPIs or metrics.
Right.
And earlier, I think couple of years back or some years back, I would heard hear from CS teams that upsell is not our thing, like we are not here to sell, we are here to consult the customer, we are here to engage the customer. That is also changing, like companies are looking at CS from a revenue perspective as well, just not with the expansion and retention, but also what you can upsell to the customer based on the relationship that you have with the customer. And
Right.
that is again something people are learning. Like even it could be like closing inbound demos sometimes on behalf
Really?
of your team.
Okay.
That's something I feel like customer success teams will be doing in the future.
Right.
We have started doing that at Outplay. I mean, we kind of if there is a inbound referral from a customer or inbound deal, and
Yeah.
we feel like it's not that complex and nothing like that, because our teams are capable enough that they know the product in and out. They can do a demo, they can run a POC, and they can even close it if required. So that's another thing where I feel people will have to open their mindset now
Right.
in the customer success, that we can do this as well. There is nothing wrong in doing it, and also it acts as a revenue source and a commission source for the team as well.
Okay, wow. So basically, people who want to apply to Outplay, the benchmark is really, really high. You need to basically be able to do sales, customer success, support, and have technical knowledge as well, right? Which is like really cool. It's extremely high standards, but I think if people join, they can like really learn all of that. And like you said, it isn't a fragmented motion anymore, right? It's supposed to be one fluid revenue motion.
Yes.
So wow, that's actually really cool. And actually that sounds like a lot of, I mean, I don't want to say pressure, but I think the expectation is quite high. So how do you actually do that for your team internally? Do you like how do you keep them on their toes in terms of like just being technically there? Do you give them like in product, like more product training or like what's the playbook there actually?
Yeah. So for the team, actually, we do like basically, I feel your best QA person in the company is your best person to learn any product.
Right.
And our best QA
Right.
person is someone is closely working with the CS team. So we have regular
Wow.
sessions
Okay.
to understand
Okay.
new things on the product, even if there are challenges coming in. All
Right.
those things we are kind of understanding, so that at the end of the day, we reach a certain level that if it's a bug where the developer needs to fix it, then it's fine, we
Yeah.
go to the team. But if it's not a
Yeah.
bug and it's just a understanding or challenge or workaround, that is all can be done by the CS team with a customer. We don't need to run back to the teams, take their help. Then again, that time thing is there, especially in the sales tech stack. So all of that, we are kind of learning and make sure that
Okay. Let me
we are on top with the product knowledge always.
Okay, let me re-edit that a little bit. If you want to apply for a job at customer success at Outplay, apart from sales, success, support, you also need to know how to debug the product a little bit and a little bit of engineering and a little bit of coding as well. That's the
No,
expectation, right?
coding is not required, but yeah, like you use a product, so you should understand how the product is working. And basically, what I ask my team is to think yourself as a user of the
Right.
product, and then do as many, like we have a test account, try as many things as you can on that test account, and see wherever you are breaking the system, and then report to the team. So
That's really cool. Wow. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm learning a lot of stuff that is done quite differently. Do you have a difference in terms of is there a different playbook for your long tail customers and your high touch customers? Tell me a little bit about that. Like, are they treated the same, or obviously is there a difference? Or would love to hear how you guys do it.
yeah. So I mean, typically we have a common sales book, I mean CS book, Janvik. So it's not different for each customer. But of course, with time you understand the account values, the
Right.
size of the accounts that you are managing, and
Right.
the kind of process changes accordingly. So
Correct. Yeah.
we have a different process for the for our strategically important and high value accounts, where we try to engage with them on a monthly basis, even if we can on a bi-weekly basis. But sometimes bi-weekly becomes too much, so we have shifted that to a monthly kind of a basis, and make sure that there is a marketing team who is rolling out all the product updates and newsletters to the customers. But then as a CSM, we are also doing that on our own, like creating a personalized email for those customers, creating videos in those, so that they know there are these features which can be helpful, and then we can have that connect with them to understand how these features could help in their process. And
Right.
then for our other branch of customers, kind of lower on the revenue side, we still like to connect with them, but we basically try to connect with them in a more of a 2 month 3 month period to
Right.
understand how things are going from their perspective, and we always keep an eye on those accounts, because what we
Right.
feel is the business increases from there. So let's say
Right.
you are a small company with two people right now,
Yeah.
and you are using
Yeah.
Outplay. If you are
Yeah.
seeing engagement from Outplay, you are seeing increase in your sales numbers, your team is
Yeah.
going to increase. So we
Yeah.
especially keep an eye on those accounts, so we tag them, and we make sure those customers we are engaging, that that later on can get expanded to bigger companies. And
Right.
especially at Outplay, over the past 5 years, I've seen, I've worked with companies who are even bigger companies now, but when they started with us, they were not that big, or they were not even funded. So, Outplay has kind of helped those companies get funded, get big, over a period of time. So this is where, we kind of make sure that we are delivering.
Okay, wow. So basically, you are definitely a believer of customer led growth, and you've seen it happen yourself. You've seen like a small account that was part of the long tail over a period of whatever 3 to 5 years has basically become one of like your bigger than one of your bigger accounts right now, right? And you don't have to tell us about the name of the company, but if you had to give us like a ACV package, can you tell us like from a long tail, what is it to now?
So I'll tell you, there is a customer who started with 2 seats or 3 seats with us, and they are like
Right.
more than 50 seats right now. Like you can
More
understand,
than
like
50
from
seats.
three, yes. So from three to
Wow.
more than 50, the number of times revenue that would have increased.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they got funded also. So like it's a good portfolio to have of these customers. So
Right.
I'm a big believer of, like your sales team will help you close those bigger accounts or get you those bigger accounts. But then along with that, your smaller accounts can also grow big. You need to keep a focus on them as well. Don't lose sight on them.
Right. Okay, wow. That's really cool. It's like a live example of how a long tail person actually turned into like, a pretty big customer. And that's great because a lot of times I think it's just tough because of bandwidth issues to give attention to long tail customers, and that is one of the biggest revenue leaks as well, right? These guys just disappear because no one's looking out for them. And that's, I think that's changing now, where more people are focusing on customer led growth and how customers actually can be their biggest source of revenue rather than letting them go out of the funnel. And it's cool to see that you guys are doing that in practice. Okay, so now we're just coming to the spiciest part of the podcast, which is basically like the rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Feel free to be as scandalous about it as possible, or just answer them however you feel comfortable. Okay, so according to you, your hot take, NPS is dash. Please fill in the dash.
It's in between, I would say.
Okay.
It's not that if it's high, that will basically mean that you are doing well, and if it's low, that you are not doing well. It's in between, because I have personally seen getting very very high NPSs, and
Yeah.
then the customer despairing as well. So
Oh my
it's
God.
kind of in between for me.
Okay. Awesome. You can keep only one CS metric forever. Okay. Everything else is going to disappear. Which one are you going to keep?
One CS metric forever,
Yeah.
I would say. It's basically on the terms of engagement only, like how frequent you are engaging with the customer, and the customer is engaging with you. That's the only metric which is going to matter in the future. All the
Right.
other metrics, I feel like will become automated, or will not be that obsolete, or will become obsolete over a period of time. So the engagement
Okay.
part with your
Got it.
customer is what will always be there.
Right, right. Cool. Okay, name and shame, right? Feel free to just, if you don't want to say the name, you can just like hint at it, but then it's up to you. What's the most overrated CS tool that everyone swears by?
See, I have not personally used too many CS tools, Janvik, so will not
Yeah,
kind of say anything. But I feel like there are a couple of tools which are promoted most by the CS teams out there, but maybe they are
yeah,
not that sufficient for So you have to understand which is good for your stage, which tool is right for your stage.
Yeah,
So based on that, take the decision.
right.
Don't take it on, if 90% of the industry is using that, we will use that and it will help us out. So that's what I would say.
I think that's fair. Can you give us a hint of what it rhymes with? No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to say it. Okay, cool. Customer success team should never dash.
Sleep.
Okay, they should never sleep. They should basically be alert all the time. Okay, cool. Your house is on fire and you can save only one customer segment. Which one would you save and why?
My house is on fire and I would always save the shorter value customers, because they, like I mentioned, they are more in number. So I will always have a lot of customers to engage with, get feedback and do that, and then also help them grow. So I'm going to take that route. And the bigger customers, any day, what I feel is after 2 3 years, even if they work with you, they are going to churn at a certain point of time. But the
Right.
lower value customers, if you engage with them rightly, and if they see that you are a kind of a person who is genuinely believing and rooting for them, they might stick with you forever.
Okay, wow, awesome. That was really cool. I loved all your answers, except you didn't give us a rhyming word for the tool that you didn't like. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this has been great. If you can just like wrap things up by telling me, like, what are you most excited for like next year? That would be cool.
I mean, like people are, excited about the AI tech in the CS space. So I am also eager to see that, how tools develop, how, things develop into that, how these AI tools can help us more efficient. I'm not afraid of that, that people saying it might take our jobs or CS will become obsolete, because a person will always engage with a person. We have even tried that. We have initiated some bots on our support functionality, and people don't
Right,
engage with it that much. And even I think that's the case with your I would say different industry, but same like Zomato, Swiggy, you have seen people don't like those boards coming up and replacing persons. We need a person to talk to a person, but the technology can be enabled in a way that it helps us to improve that. So
right.
that's something I'm looking forward to.
Okay, I mean, it's actually really cool that you mentioned that. What do you think AI can actually enable CS with?
So I feel like even the best of CSMs, I'm not saying that they ignore that, but we are sometimes so much packed with other things, so much things are running, that we need nudges. And I feel like the best tool of AI, the best use of AI is nudges. You nudge a person, you tell him or her that, hey, this requires your attention, and that is it. This
Right,
the CSM can handle. There is no
right,
need for the AI to go one step further and you know respond on behalf of the CSM. I think the nudge will be enough for the CSM to understand, hey, things might go very here, so let's get into action. So that's
right.
basically the thing I'm looking forward most to. Tools developing it. I don't want notifications in my emails. I get so many emails that sometimes it's hard to keep a track of it. But I just want that one
Yeah,
nudge at a time, that which will basically be actually very important, which will be of some value, and not just that hey, I'm getting a nudge that, hey, this health score is getting down. I get a nudge and then I have to start looking around for things that might not be accurate, because again, sometimes I've talked to customers, they say that we have a cool off period, we are not doing anything right now, so the health scores are declining. But that does not mean they're churning. They're just kind of reshaping their things. They are taking a step back from their things. So
right.
if the AI, there's a tool which can help do that, I think that will be the most value to any CSN right now.
So, like a less is more approach, cutting through the noise sort of thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay, awesome. Well, this has been really nice talking to you, love. I hope you had a nice time as well. And thank you so much again for taking time out. And yeah, have a great year ahead.
sure, Janvi. You
Awesome.
too have a great year ahead. It was great
Okay.
talking to you as well. Looking
Yes.
forward to hearing some more episodes from different CS folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, Janvi. You have a great one.